Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. We're going to try to do this every weekday. I appreciate those who've responded live and also later on. You can see a different command of Jesus every weekday at our Bible plan at bible.today.church if you'd like to participate in that. Thank you for sharing this and for commenting. It really not only is encouraging, but it helps spread the word as well. Today's Jesus said is from Matthew 28:19. And Jesus said, "Go make disciples." And before I talk about that, I just want to read that in context, reading Matthew 28, verse 18 through 20. Jesus came and told his disciples, "I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore," so it was in the context of all that authority that he had. "Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations," or of all peoples, "baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit." But it doesn't end there. "Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I've given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Jesus not only said, make disciples, he said, go make disciples. It's not something that we sit and wait for the converts to come to us. He said, go make disciples, baptizing them. And sometimes we get the cart before the horse. Baptism is incredibly important, but making disciples has to come first. We don't convert people to disciple them. We actually disciple them to convert them. And that's the command that Jesus gave us. And then once they're baptized, immersed into that disciple-making process, we begin to teach them all of the things that Jesus commanded. And we can't very well teach what we're not doing. So the first part of making disciples is actually being a disciple ourselves. Why don't we go? Why don't we make disciples? As I was thinking about this last night and this morning, I thought about today. My son has a football game. He plays high school football. And I thought about what's going to happen later this evening as the team is gathered in the locker room and they're preparing for the game. And the coach is going to stand up there and he'll probably give a speech. I've never been in this locker room, but I can just imagine. And then at some point, he's going to say, let's go win this game. And the coach will leave. Well, just imagine that the players, after the coach gave them the instruction to go play the game, that they stayed in the locker room. And the quarterback stood up and he said, did you hear what the coach said? He said, go play the game. So let's all say that together. All right. Everybody say, go play the game. And he gave us these plays in a playbook. Who has a copy of that playbook? All right. Would you read play number 17? Let's talk about what it might look like if we actually ran that play. Let's read play number 13. And so they just spend time in the locker room. The wide receiver over here, he has done a lot of research on the coach's first team and some of the first players that he ever coached. In fact, he has a letter from one of those first players that he's going to read right now. And so the football team stays in the locker room. Sometimes it's how we treat the commands of Jesus. He didn't say, go gather and talk about them. And there's nothing wrong, of course, with talking about the words of Jesus and learning how to play the game. But we also have to just go and make disciples. It's not about staying in the locker room. It's getting out on the field and playing the game that Jesus called us to play. But we can't do that if we're not obeying the commands of Jesus and living like him every day of our life. It's not something that we do once a week. It's not something that we accomplish just when we're together at a Bible study or at a life group. But making disciples is something that Jesus told us to do, to go, and it's who we are. We are disciple makers that make disciple makers. That's what Jesus said. He said, go make disciples. How can we put that into practice today?